two superpowers in the world. One is the United States, and the other is world public opinion.
It's only a handful of us inside the room that actually can follow the proceedings. So I wanted to tell you about what was going on in there. We opened and we talked about Julian's political opinions and his political motivations. And they are clear and they're unchallenged, which is to expose state criminality. And what happens when you expose state criminality? The United States has taken a politically motivated prosecution against a journalist because he exposed them committing crimes. And so what's going on inside this courtroom is to determine how the extent of the cover-up. How is this court going to deal with this case? We heard that the case was only brought after the United States said that it would do anything to prevent the International Criminal Court from examining an investigation into US activities in Afghanistan. And of course, WikiLeaks evidence in the publication that Julian's indicted over are part of that case. WikiLeaks has been used as evidence in the European Court of Human Rights and other foreign courts to expose state criminality. And the United States is abusing its legal system in order to hound and prosecute and intimidate all of you. What's at stake is the ability to publish the truth and expose crimes when they're committed by states. The outcome of this hearing today will make it clear the extent of the cover-up. The only fair, I shouldn't even talk about fairness at this stage, because the country that's trying to extradite him plotted to murder him. What are we even entertaining in these courts? How can any how can you even entertain this hearing knowing what we know? It's all on the public record. And yet it continues. It's only a handful of us in that room, but you know what the stakes are. You understand what this is about. It's about you, it's about us, it's about the public's right to know. It's about the right to be able to speak freely without being put in prison and hounded and terrorized by the state.
Totally.
Thank you.
It's a very great pleasure to introduce to you now Vince DeStefano from the sister organisation, the Assange Defence Campaign in the United States of America. Please give it up for Vince DeStefano.
Brothers and sisters, I am the National Organizing Director of Assange Defense in the United States, and I come to you today in shame for my country, which is persecuting a man whose only crime is sharing the truth of the war crimes, misdemeanors, and calumny of the United States government. He sits just 12 miles from here in Belmarsh Prison, but he is vastly closer to the American Gulag 4,500 miles from here in Guantanamo Bay, created by my country to sidestep the principles that we hold dear, that we loudly proclaim to the to the rest of the world. The presumption of innocence, the equality before the law, a prohibition on torture and inhumane treatment, all of which have been denied to Julian Assange. Now, I wish to address another individual who stands in the dock with Julian, who too will be prosecuted, who too will be denied justice. Who is that other unindicted co-conspirator? It is you. It is the people. It is your right to know that stands on trial in that courtroom. We cannot wait for the perverted British Jewish system or the perverted American government to provide us justice. Justice will only come when the voices of the people here and around the world are so loud that they can't ignore us any longer. Free Assange! Free Assange now! We will be here today. We will be here tomorrow. We will be here as long as the struggle continues until Julian Assange is free and reunited with his family. And should he choose to do so after his long ordeal, once again, inform, educate, and tell us what our governments wish to hide from us. Thank you all very much.
Where we are is a very, very worrying moment, because if Julian gets sent to the US, I mean, he'll most probably die in a special, in a SAMS, in a solitary confinement prison somewhere in the US, which would be horrendous. And there actually goes.
Come in. Come and speak to Jamie.
Come on.
Come and chat to Jamie. There's a lot of love going on here.
I've had it's so hard to recognize.
The things that I consider as possible, my favourite as a sort of one of the possibilities is that he gets his final appeal or application to appeal, chance to appeal rejected, but the European Court of Human Rights step in and take over the case. They issue the Article 39 that preserves where he is. Possibly he'd be moved to Strasbourg or to France, hopefully to a better environment, perhaps even let out on bail to be tagged. But that, to me, of the possibilities, is my preferred possibility. Just kicking it down the road, leaving Julian in Belmarsh maximum security prison for another 2 or 3 years until his appeal is heard and it all gets sort of abused, is, something I'm not keen on. Obviously, the extradition is totally out of the question. If he goes, he'll be dead. It'll be the end of our rights to know. I noticed it was interesting, Victor, that they made that reference to our rights to know. That's what this is all about.
I need my speakers, please, people.